emergency situations. Okay? We're going to talk a little bit about how to handle most emergency situations. Now, the problem with emergency situations is we really can't go out there and go, hey, let's go try to do this emergency situation so we can kind of figure out how to do it. You know, it's hard to do. Like one time I was in a seminar for driver's ed, and they said, yeah, some of these guys, some of these things, you can maybe go to a parking lot and spread water out on the parking lot and show how to drive in rain or a hydroplane or whatever. I mean, you know, who's going to be able to do that? Now, don't get me wrong, I was able to do that at Texas A&M. We had a driver's ed meeting, you know, I don't know, a long time ago. And they watered the thing, the field, so we could see how to slide, how to recover, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to get to talk about all that. And then we're going to talk about how to drive in the fog, snow, rain, and ice. The crazy thing about Texas is if you're up in the Panhandle or in Dallas, you're going to be driving ice and snow. You know, you're going to get to see ice and snow. If you're way down here, Austin, San Antonio, Houston, Beaumont, Harlingen, you know, Laredo area, you're going to go, snow? What is that? Okay. I'm going to tell you, most people can't drive in snow in the state of Texas. Okay. So if they tell you stay off the road, you got to stay off the road. And then also ice is a little different. But everybody in Texas is driven in fog and driven in rain. So anyway, let's get started on the lesson. Let's get started on the lesson. All right, right here are your basically questions that we're going to talk about. I may cover some of these, I may not. Again, you're going to take them, go into the learn icons, and basically go through them. There's the next set of questions. Some of these you should be able to sit down with mom and dad and you'll be able to answer probably most of them right there, okay? A lot of good stuff there. So this you could Google. All right, I'm going to basically show you this video here. So in the next slide, I'm going to show you this video. And so the question I want you to watch when it happens, you're going to be the station wagon. So when this accident happens, you are the first person at the scene of the accident. What are some things you can do? So I'm going to go ahead and play the video. All right, so you're the first at the scene of the accident. Again, if you're the first one to arrive, in order, what are some things you need to think about doing? You probably maybe said, maybe call the police, whatever. That is not the actual first thing to do. The actual first thing to do is redirect traffic. As crazy as this sounds, a lot of people that actually get in trouble and actually get hurt from the accident is basically the person that's trying to save the person. Okay? And you're sitting there going, well, then I'm not going to go save them. Well, I mean, you want to help people. So basically redirecting traffic, putting your car in a way that nobody gets hit, maybe lifting the hood up, putting your four-way flashers on. So when you go over to help the victims, you're not getting hit. Okay? So those are some things you need to think about when you're, you know, going up there to, you know, a lot of people just pull up, but they just pull up and get out of the car and then they get hit by, you know, some 18-wheeler driving by. So redirect traffic. Next one, obviously call 911. Get someone else to call 911 too. All right, that helps when 2 or 3 people calling. You know, it puts an urgency probably for the first fire truck to show up, because usually the ambulance is usually the last one that shows up. Then check on victims. Okay. Now let me switch this. If the car is on fire, I would kind of do number 1 and then go straight to number 3, okay? You got to drag them out of there and get them out of there. So kind of be aware of that. But if you don't see a fire, no smoke, no nothing like that, then you can check on victims. Are they breathing? And then stop the bleeding. A lot of people want to stop the bleeding, but I'm going to tell you guys, they're not going to bleed real bad if they can't breathe. All right? So see if they're breathing. Talk to them, say hello, ask them where they're at, and then go to stop bleeding. Again, I'm not a medic. You can also go take first aid classes and follow your first aid classes and so forth on how to, do CPR and so on and so forth. But basically, these are some things sort of in that order, to check. But number one is key. I don't want you to get hit trying to help somebody else out.
Today's automobiles include dozens of safety features designed to protect passengers in an accident. But wouldn't it be nice to avoid that accident in the first place? ABS can help you do just that. ABS is short for Anti-Lock Brake System. The primary task of a four-wheel anti-lock brake system is accident avoidance, helping the driver to brake and steer where he wants to go in a hard braking situation. Here are the ABS rules. Stop. Firmly depress the brake pedal. Stay on the brakes. Don't pump the brakes. Steer where you want to go. Hard braking on any road surface can cause wheel lockup and a loss of vehicle control. When any wheel locks from constant brake pressure, even for a split second, the locked wheel becomes useless in the driver's attempts to steer the vehicle. To overcome this, the ABS computer pumps the brakes much faster than a driver ever could, preventing the wheel from locking and allowing the driver to maintain steering control. Again, remember the ABS rules. Stop. Firmly depress the brake pedal. Stay on the brakes. Don't pump the brakes. Steer where you want to go. But you may be asking yourself, do I really need ABS where I live? The answer is an unqualified yes. ABS can help you in just about any type of weather condition. Even on ice, four-wheel anti-lock brakes adjust brake pressure to all four wheels to eliminate wheel lockup and optimize control. On snow, the same benefits apply. In warmer climates, morning dew or an afternoon shower can also create hazardous driving conditions. ABS can help here too. Even on dry pavement, anti-lock brakes improve the driver's control of the vehicle. So regardless of the weather conditions, snow, ice, rain, or dry, anti-lock brakes can help. Four-wheel ABS also provides the added benefit of saving wear and tear on your tires. Without four-wheel ABS, locked wheels from an emergency stop can leave braking patches, damaging your tires and affecting your vehicle's ride. It's important that you know if the vehicle you're driving is equipped with anti-lock brakes. On vehicles with ABS, you'll see this symbol light up on your instrument panel when you start the engine. Here are the ABS rules. Stop. Firmly depress the brake pedal. Stay on the brakes. Don't pump the brakes. Steer where you want to go. The noise you hear and the pedal vibration you feel are normal. That means that the ABS is working. Remember that anti-lock brakes, as good as they are, can't overcome the laws of physics. Just because your vehicle has ABS doesn't give you a license to drive more aggressively. Always keep a safe distance in front of you and maintain a speed consistent with road conditions. And always wear your safety belt. So we know that anti-lock brakes work, but are they worth the investment? Most people agree the investment is justified if the anti-lock brake system prevents just one accident. Make anti-lock brakes a must on your next vehicle. And please don't forget, safety is a standard, not an option.
All right, now, new cars have new systems on the cars. Just about every car has this now. It used to be where some of the cars had it, some of the cars didn't have it. All right, and anti-lock brakes. So in anti-lock brakes, what we're going to do is stomp. We're going to stay on the brake. Now you kind of think, well, of course, if I see an accident or something going to pull out in front of me, of course I'm going to stop on the brake, and of course I'm going to stay on the brake. Nope. When you put that foot on that brake and you hold it down, that brake is going to vibrate, and it's going to make a humming noise, and you're going to think you're doing something wrong. And what happens is a lot of people say, oh my God, what am I doing wrong? And they pull their foot off the brake. Nope, stop, stay. And the cool thing about anti-lock brakes is you can steer the car where you want it to go. Back in our days, we had to pump the brake. This way, anti-lock brakes is pumping the brakes almost 1,000 times a second or something like that. So be aware of this. Emergency, cow jumps out in front of you, slam on the brakes, and then sort of steer around the cow or deer or whatever it is, or the car pulls out in front of you. All right, the car goes off the road. What should we do here? The car goes off the road. Obviously, don't panic and don't try to steer too much. Okay, ease off the accelerator so you're kind of halfway on the road or not. Activate ABS, slow down to about 25 miles. You don't want to just jam the brakes, okay? Just lightly put on the brakes. Okay, align yourself with the edge of the roadway and the middle of the car, and then gradually just take it back on. Don't jerk it real hard because you could go all the way into the other traffic. All right, check traffic front and rear. If traffic is clear, return to roadway one wheel at a time. All right. Limit steering in a half turn. So if I got my steering wheel here, I don't want to turn where my arm's all the way across. That is more than a half a turn. We're looking at about that much, or about that much. Just a little bit to get the wheels back on to the roadway. Tire blows out. What should you do? Now, I'm going to get into some controversy here, okay? All right? Because one of my questions, or one of my things, it's going to sound like I'm going to tell you to hit the accelerator, all right? I don't want you to hit the accelerator. So as I go through these points, kind of come from where I'm talking about and what I'm talking about, okay? First thing we do, what do you do when you, here's something to talk about. When you're riding a bike and the wind is blowing hard, do you speed up or slow down? So when you're riding a bicycle and the wind's blowing you, you actually kind of speed up a little bit to keep the balance so the bike don't fall over or go that way, okay? So obviously you hear the blowout. What you want to do is put your hands at 9 and 3. You get better control of the car. Do not slam on the brakes. We don't want to stop immediately. You may go into a 360 spin. I've done that before, okay? Do not remove your foot from the accelerator right away. Let your foot off the accelerator easily, but just enough to get control, because right when the blowout happens, the car's going to kind of go like that, and you just kind of, if you take it off and go straight to the brake, it's not going to happen. But if you just kind of take your foot off the accelerator a little bit, kind of get control of the car, and we're talking about, 1001, 1002, 1003, you should have control of the car, okay? It won't be shaking anymore. Once you do that, then you can take your foot off the accelerator and then easily apply the brake, all right? Gently apply the brakes after you gain control of the car. Losing the accelerator all at once, taking your foot off the accelerator all at once, sometimes doesn't help you. But then again, your brain's not thinking about that. Blowout, oh my God, hit the brakes, you see? So anyway, what side of the road do we steer to? We do not want to be on the left side of the road. We want to be on the right side of the road. Even off the freeway if we can. Even if it means you got to drive on that blown out tire for a little bit, get off the freeway, all right? Number one reason for a blowout, what do you think? Worn tires. You're too cheap to buy new tires. That is the number one reason for blowout. It's not you ran over nails. A car can handle a nail. So, I mean, gradually the air will come out. Accelerate.
Hi, I'm Dr. Bill Van Tassel with Ptde, and today we're discussing how to handle various driving emergencies. Right now, I'm going to cover what you should do when you experience a tire blowout. Tires are the most important parts on your vehicle. Now, modern tires provide high traction and great reliability, but tires can fail. It might fail because of a puncture, or a slow leak, or heat buildup due to improper inflation. If you experience a blowout, remain calm and remember 2 key steps. First, stabilize the vehicle. Second, pull off the road safely. First, stabilizing the vehicle. You want to stay calm, and if a front tire blows out, you will feel a strong pull to one side. If a rear tire blows out, you might feel the rear of the car sway back and forth. So maintain a firm grip on the steering wheel and maintain a straight course. Ease up on the accelerator, but stay off the brakes. If you apply the brakes, it may upset the vehicle's balance, making a risky situation even worse. Once the vehicle is coasted down to 20 to 25 miles an hour, then you can gently apply the brakes if needed. Second, pulling off the road safely. Your focus should be on finding a safe place to pull off the road. So check the traffic around you, find a safe gap, signal, and steer off the road. Don't worry about the condition of your tire or if you have to drive on it for a short distance. Chances are it's not safe for future use anyway. If possible, when you stop, have at least 5 feet of clearance between you and the roadway. Set the parking brake and shift to park. Turn on your emergency flashers and then get everyone out of the vehicle and into a safe position. Once you're safely off the road, call AAA for roadside assistance. Never put yourself at risk when changing a tire. With blowouts, prevention is the key. The best blowout is one that never happens. That's why it's so important to check your tire pressure on a regular basis, at least once a month. So that's how you can handle a tire blowout. Up next, I'm going to show you what to do if you run off the road or experience a pavement edge drop-off.
Deep water on the roadway, what should you do here? Deep water on the roadway, what should you do here? All right, there's a new ad campaign coming out. You may have heard of it. It's called, now I forgot Don't Drown. The new ad campaign is called Don't Drown, Turn Around. Okay, so don't go in the deep water. Don't drown, turn around. So, be aware of that. Don't go in the water if you don't want to. I mean, definitely, because the road could be washed away. So let's go through some of these. Obviously, everybody here has probably gone through some deep water before. Okay? My number one thing is never drive through deep water. Sometimes the road is washed away. The second thing is if you decide to go through it, I'm going to let another car the same size as mine go through it first. Even if I got to sit there a long time. I'm not going out there until I see someone either walk across or an animal go across there or another car, because I don't know if the road's been washed away. Now you think, oh, Coach Adams, what are you talking about? How would you would know the road was washed away? No, you don't. The water coming across there so fast is brown. It's level with the 2 other sides of the street. You're not going to see that road's washed away. I've seen cars go whoop, just fall way deep in there and just get washed away. Again, if you decide you're going to be dumb enough to go through it, and you got to go through it, you saw another car go through, it looks like it can make it, you never stop the vehicle. If you're going to be dumb enough to go through it, just keep going. I have seen cars and heard of cars where the water goes all over the top of the roof. The car just kept going, and it gets through the other side. Once water gets in that gas, that exhaust, and it won't let air get out, it's going to shut it down. All right. This is not a perfect example, but the example I like to use is if I grabbed you by the neck and held your neck a little bit, you're not necessarily going to die. You're just going to pass out. Same thing. If I strangle your car for not letting the air come out of the car, the exhaust come out, it's going to shut down. So that's why you see some of these Jeeps or cars, they got a little exhaust pipe coming up, where their front end is, because they go in deep water a lot. If the vehicle drowns out, do not start the vehicle. Okay? That is one of the worst things you can do, is once you start that vehicle, you're making more water to get into that engine. Once it drowns, you still got a chance to keep that car. But if you keep trying to start it, you can kiss that thing goodbye.
Frank, they've had a lot of problems. Let me show you this car right over here. It was just pulled out of the water. It was submerged. The wrecker came and pulled that one out. Now, car after car driving right down the roadway here in Elysian into the water, and even seeing other cars here didn't stop them. The rain fell fast. The roads filled up even faster. This is why you should never drive into high water. Cars were sitting in water up to their roofs on Elysian near the North Loop. A watery warning to other drivers, but that did not deter them. Watch the driver of this car. She never slowed as she plunged right into the water. Once the car stopped, she climbed out of that car and fell in herself. After a wet walk, she was safe. Our crew made sure.
You okay?
Her car was flooded, the windshield wipers still running. The drivers at Little York and Shepherd in North Houston had hope trying to save their cars. Here the water was only halfway up the door.
I thought when I seen the little car go through, I thought I could make it. I guess I couldn't.
Gas pedal sticks at 55 miles an hour. What should you do? Don't panic. Put your gas, pull the gas up with your foot. Reach down with your foot while you're still paying attention to the road and try to pull it up. Don't reach down there with a hand, because if I reach down there with a hand, I can't see anything. You see what I'm saying? So don't reach down there with a hand. Try your foot. See if that works. This actually happened in one of our drivers' ed car. They put their foot underneath there. It didn't work. All right? So try to punch the gas. The bad thing with punching the gas, you could get stuck at 75 miles an hour. We did that. It didn't work. And then so the first thing I did is I shifted to neutral. I did not turn off the key. I do not want to lose power steering or whatever. Now, here's the problem with a car stuck at 55 miles an hour and you put it in neutral. The engine is going to be roaring. And you're going to think, oh my God, I'm hurting the engine. No, you're not. It's just going to be roaring really loud. Once you shift into neutral, turn your four-way flashers on. Right? Pull to the right. There's a loud noise still going on. This will happen in about 5 minutes. All right. On newer cars, which is pretty much most of the cars, we'll say 2018 and above. Okay. So if you got a car older than 2018, definitely be doing steps 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Now, step 4 for cars, I'd say above 2018 above, the gas overrules the brake. So if you mash the brake down, it's going to slow the car down. Other cars that didn't do that. Those older cars that didn't do it. I don't know what now they got it. You mash that gas, it overrules the brake, and it'll actually slow down the car. So kind of be aware of that. Obviously, out of gas, what you do? Obviously, get to the right shoulder, turn on your four-way flashers, call for assistance, get the proper container and get back over there. But the most important thing I wanted to get to is avoid this. Fill the darn tank up at 1/4 of a tank. I don't care if you got $5. I imagine I could go in your car and look around and find $5 worth of change somewhere in your car. All right? That usually helps. I always tell everybody when the gas gauge gets to that little gas thing pops up, the little light, the orange light shows the gas tank, whatever. You got about anywhere from 15 to 25 miles left in that. It depends on how many miles per gallon you get. So if you get 30 miles to the gallon, I would say when that light comes on, you got 1 gallon in that tank. So, that's something to think about. Light goes out at 55 miles an hour. What should you do? Now, something I'm going to tell you in here that might be illegal. Oh my God, Coach Adams is going to tell us something illegal. When I get to it, you'll see what I'm talking about. All right. What causes it? Fuses, faulty wiring, dead battery, so forth, okay, or alternator. What should you do? Try to get off the road to a safe place, obviously where some light is if you don't have a flashlight. Sometimes if the lights go out, you can turn the high beams on. They're on 2 different switches. The high beams may work and the headlights don't. So, that's something to really think about when you're doing that, because, right then, I'm either looking for a place or I'm going to switch the high beams to see if the high beams work. High beams work, then go. It's bad to drive with high beams because you're going to be blinding the other traffic. They're going to all be blowing the horn at you and so forth. All right? Now, number 3 is not a legal thing to do. Follow another car using taillights to see where they're going. The bad thing is you're behind this car, you got no lights on, nothing, and you're following, they're going to be scared to death. All right? But the reason why I put this one in here is if my daughter was out in the middle of nowhere and she called me, she goes, Dad, I can't see anything, don't know. I would probably tell her, how far is the gas station away? She says, oh, it's about 5 miles. She'd look on her phone. Well, I would just say, well, follow another car behind them. Maybe the 4-way flashers would work or something like that. We try to study what's going on. But if there's no way I could get to her, nobody to help her, this is a thought. It's not a legal one, but it's a thought to help you get out of trouble. And then obviously you can drive with your 4-way flashers on and then get to the safe place as much as possible. No brakes and need to stop. What should I do? Ooh, no brakes, need to stop. What should I do? Pump the anti-lock brakes. What happens is the hydraulics, there may be an air bubble in there or something like that. When you pump them real quick, you make that brake. Now, when you pump them, that brake's going to go all the way to the ground. You're going to, oh my God, I can't stop. Start pumping them as quick as you can. You may get that little air bubble in your line out. I don't know why you would get an air bubble in the line, but it happens every blue moon. I would say after about 10 pumps, if that brake is not getting any harder, then I would go straight to the emergency brake. So I'm going to pump, 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 pump. Oop, doesn't get harder. I'm going over here, or some of y'all got a truck and it's over there. You're going to go straight to the emergency brake, be done, and do that. Now, I suggest to every student that takes my course is I want you to go to a parking lot, and I want you to let the car go about 5-10 miles an hour, and I want you to try to stop the car with the emergency brake so you know how to use it. Tell mom and dad, say Coach Adams told us to go to a parking lot, at the local stadium or Walmart at night or whatever, no cars around, and then just basically try to stop the car with the emergency brake. It'll help you understand how to use it, because if you don't know how to use it, it will freak you out. If this does not work, then use curves, something to slow you down. Again, you can downshift to a lower gear. It'll slow you down. And lower gear, for some of y'all don't know what that is, you got park, you got R, then you got N, which is neutral, then you got D, and you got this little thing, either L, 1, 2, and 3, or you just got a 1 and a 2. Well, basically, that's your low gear. So, if collision is unavoidable, pick something soft to run over. Bushes, shrubs, like what one of my videos says, tulips. Something soft. Don't hit a brick wall or try to take out a bunch of mailboxes. That's not going to help you. All right. Some shrubs to look for. In mountains, they usually have a runaway hill that you can go up.
Every now and then, something does go wrong with your car. One of the problems that's been happening for years, especially as the car gets older, is if you have brake failure. You hit the brake pedal and your foot goes to the floor. Your car doesn't stop. Besides panicking, what are you going to do about it? Well, the first thing you can do is pump the brake pedal. If you pump the brake, you're doing two things. One, you're warning the driver behind with your brake lights, and secondly, you're seeing whether or not you can build up some pressure in your brake line. If that doesn't work, as you're trying to slow down, you want to pull on your handbrake. By pulling your parking brake up, keep your thumb on the button and pull it up as hard as you can. This might lock your back wheels, and if it does, because your thumb's on the button, you can release it slightly, then reapply pressure. Now, this is important that we use the parking brake as often as possible. That way we know it's going to work in an emergency. But it doesn't stop you on a dime. It actually is like half the space, or twice along the space as you really need to stop. So let's keep pulling that up hard. If that doesn't work, take your gear selector and drop it into a lower gear. By putting into a lower gear, like right down into low, it's a lot easier to slow the car right down. Now, if that doesn't stop you, you're probably going really slow, find something soft to go into. bushes, a prize-winning roses or tulips, we have insurance and it'll cover the cost of replacing these items. So now that we know what to do, make sure your car's properly tuned too. Make sure your brakes are working, including your parking brake. That way we know we can stop, not just go. For Hamilton Life and for Young Drivers of Canada, I'm Scott Marshall.
Battery's dead. Check for loose wires. Check for corrosion on the cables. I think I talked about this in one of the other lessons, that the battery has this, like, it looks like a white fungus on there. Good Coca-Cola pouring on that and kind of scrubbing it a little bit will get it. If you could get the battery cables off and kind of clean them, maybe take a sharp knife or something, just kind of strangle it up. You can put them back on there and connect it. All right. Newer model vehicles will have a sulfur smell to it if the battery's cracked. Older models may require water in the cells, like older batteries. You may take off the cells and put a little water in there. Don't overfill them. Again, you may jump the car, but if you do not know how to jump the car, do not do it. Obviously, it's red on positive, and on the other car, red on positive, which is running, and then black on negative, and black on negative on the other battery. Some people put the negative on something metal or whatever, but what I would do is, if you don't know how to do it, get someone else to do it. Car fire. Determine where the fire is, pull off the road at a safe location. If the fire is under the hood, call the fire department, get away from the car. It could blow up. If the fire is under the dash, get out of the car as soon as possible, because plastic parts have toxic fumes. All right, and it can make you just pass out right away. Car overheating. Car overheating. It's 109 degrees out. You're in Pecos, Texas. Van Horn, Texas. Y'all know out there that I drove out there one time. It was like 106 degrees. It was hot. The car's overheating. You're going to hate what I'm going to tell you. You're going to turn on the heater. Roll down the windows, which you probably already got down, and turn on the heater. Draw that heat away from the engine. So turn on the heater, turn on the fan to highest speed to help cool the engine. All right. Check the antifreeze and overflow valve. They used to have, on the older cars, they got a radiator, and the radiator cap's right there. Now they don't have that. It's usually in a bottle over here. And, just look at it. You can, it's like in a plastic bag. Like if I held up a milk jug, you can tell me if there was milk in there, halfway full or whatever. Same thing with that. It's a little white plastic thing, and you can see there. Right now, if you're trying to get home as bad as you can, you got nothing around you, take anything you want. Water, anything liquid, and get it in there. You may have to change it all out and ruin the thing, but the best thing it takes is take some water in there. Gradually, you need antifreeze, which you can get at a gas station. Never take the radiator cap. 6, bad weather. How do we drive in these conditions? So one of the things I want to talk about is basically you got fog, okay? Fog, the bad thing about fog is we can't see. You want to drive with low beam headlights, all right? Hopefully you got fog lights that show way out here. Never drive too fast, over driving your headlights where you can't see far away. You never know if a car is turning. It may be so bad you can't see, and all of a sudden the guy stopped us. He's ready to turn, and all of a sudden, bam, you run in the back of it. A good thing with fog is just kind of let it go. You sit where you're sitting at, let it go, call in, work. Hey, I'm in fog. There's no way I'm going to get out of here. All right? Rain, obviously, drive slower. Your car can hydroplane and go into a spin. Also on rain, I also want to say this. We usually say a 2-second or 4-second following distance. We talked about that in one of the chapters. I want you to have 5 seconds or more in rain. Maybe even 6 or 7 seconds following distance in rain. Ice, the only thing I'll say is nobody in Texas can drive in it. So if they say don't drive because it's ice outside, just stay home. It ain't you. You may know how to drive it. It's the other cars that come in and crash into you because they're sliding, they drive too fast. The the one thing I want to say on ice, I don't know if you can see me, is what's wrong with ice is couldn't I walk slow enough on ice and not slip and fall, right? Yes, you could. Well, that's the problem with ice is people drive too fast in it. I could drive in ice. I could drive across a lake if it held my car. I could go slow enough with the car going through there. The problem is when you go too fast, it starts going everywhere. All right. Snow, driving in snow is bad. About snow, since I did cover it in the last slide. Snow, the road could be covered so bad that you wouldn't even be able to see the road. So let's just say this is my road here. So I got a road just like this in snow. All right, and I got a little yellow lines here. Oop, no, that's not going to work. So let's go right back to red. So I got my little lines here. All right, that is a road. This is a road in snow. You don't see it. There's no road. That's the problem with snow. You can be driving in a cornfield. You go, wow, I didn't know this road had so many bumps, but you're in a cornfield. That's what a lot of people tell me in snow. You don't, unless someone's plowed it so you know where everybody's going, or you got tracks, if the snow hits and you come out and you're the first one out there, you may not know where the road is. You may be driving in the ditch. So be aware of snow. Now, ice, snow, water, the failure to control speed causes most skids. It's speed that causes most skids. To recover, just remove your foot from the accelerator to obviously the brake, but I don't want to slam the brakes. Just remove my foot from the accelerator. I'm probably not even going to hit the brake. Just remove it from the accelerator and turn in the direction of the skid. So if all of a sudden my butt is going this way, I'm going to turn the steering wheel the same way my butt's going. That's basically how a skid works. Don't hit the brakes. Again, on the last slide that I had is, don't want to hit the brakes. Don't panic on that. The cool thing about when you go into a skid is if you can get your foot off that gas, that usually solves a lot of problem. All right. Now, that's the end of modular line. Again, do your study guide. We're getting very close. We only have 2 more modulars. Don't stop. Keep going here, guys. Even if you have not gotten your permit, keep pushing through. Now, once we get our permit, be aware of both things. One thing we don't want to do is take the wrong, if we finish this entire course, we take the certificate at the bottom versus taking the certificate at the top where the permit is. So be aware of that. All right, I'll see you next modular. I hope you're enjoying the course. Again, take the study questions, go through your study questions, take your quiz, and you're done. All right? We'll see you next modular.